All right, so look, I want to welcome everybody to the Culture Shift podcast, and we got a very special guest from Ghana, George, and I just want to kind of, first I want to thank you for even taking the time to get on here
You're very
and
welcome.
share some background about yourself and tell us about what life is like in Ghana and growing up. I know nothing about it. So, and I'm interested because all I know is America. I don't know what life is like in different countries. So, this will be a very unique perspective that you can give on what life is like on a different side of the world. So, without further ado, we're gonna get right into it. And if you can kind of start with, just introducing yourself and tell us about, your journey growing up in Ghana.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. My name is George, like you said initially, and I'm from Ghana, West Africa. I like to make this clear in a perspective that Africa is a continent. Most Americans think it's a whole country, but it's a continent.
Okay.
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 Then
Okay.
we have 54 independent countries making up the African
Okay.
continent. And I'm from West Africa. The name of my country is Ghana, like you said. We're located right at West Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa. And I grew up in Ghana, the Ashanti region, the capital town being Kumasi, Ghana. Then, just like every other place, we have classes of people. And I'm sure you Americans have it there as well. The haves and have not. The upper class,
Yep. Yep.
middle class, then the lower class. Okay? Tell me
Yeah.
something for you to understand me properly. I would like to tell you the type of class I came from growing up, then how the journey has been. So I grew up with my parents from age 0 to age 10. I grew up with my parents until I went to live with my grandma in a different state. Okay, so Ghana is an African country that is so much endowed with so many things, and then I'm so glad to talk about Ghana with you. Then Ghana, just like every other African country, we have so many challenges, then so many, let's say, so many blessings. I would say blessings and challenges. Then I would like to start with the challenges and then grace it with I don't know how much time I have. So I'll start with the challenge.
You got as much time as you
All right,
need. No rush.
thank you. Okay, so I'll start with
Yes.
my growing up. I grew up with my parents. Then at age 10, I had to live with my grandma. So I grew up with my grandma from age 10 to now. And currently I'm in the military. I've been serving in the military for the past 7 years, specifically Navy. So I'm in the Ghana Navy for the past 7 years. And then growing up, I had my high school education, my secondary school education. I don't know how you guys have it there, but we have the junior high school, then the secondary high school. Okay, so we moved from 3 years in junior high school to 3 years in senior high school. Then my latest qualification is a diploma in business studies. I had it while I was in the military. So growing up,
Okay.
I would say it has been tough, but I would say my mom always gave me this notion that just like Joseph in the Bible, I don't know how religious you are, but I grew up from a very good religious background, and then my mom used to encourage me, Joseph in the Bible. His brothers thought they were selling him into slavery and for him to suffer. But in the end, very good thing came out of it. So he told me, although we have struggles in this place, don't call it or classify it to be struggles. Then if you see it as struggles, you're never gonna proceed. But if you see as challenges that you need to overcome, I think you can overcome everything. And then there are so many problems. So, but like the toughened mind thought I had from my mom, I never was able to call anything as a struggle. Although I went through a lot growing up.
Yeah.
I never classified it as
Yeah.
struggles because my mom gave me
Hmm.
the psychological upbringing, the mindset to overcome all the struggles. So let me put this part in a perspective. different kind of perspective. I'll give you the narrow perspective. I want to give you the broader perspective, like the average youth in Ghana, how the average youth in Ghana sees Ghana to be, like living in Ghana to be like it's hell, you know. From the day
Yeah.
your mom conceived you, then it's time for her to deliver you. They put her right on the back of a motorcycle on bad roads, yes, and then if you make it that far to the hospital, you go meet that the hospital is literally full, and then your mom has to give birth to you on a bench or on the bed.
Oh.
Yes, this is how bad it is, but this is Africa, you know. Some
Yeah.
describe happiness as the art of meeting your expectations. If you're able to meet your expectations, you call it happiness. Okay, but
Mm.
it seems this is what we know, and then we know no other life. Don't know how you guys are faring out there. Then we feel it's okay. This is home. After all, we have no people.
Mm.
Okay, so these are
Mm-hmm.
great challenges, even from day one, when your mom has to give birth to you on the bare floor, on benches, you know, just because there are no beds for your mom to give birth to you. And then after you born on the bench, then you have to start education. And that is even if you have enough food to eat to grow up to the stage for you to come to school level, then you have to start with education. And then literally, there are always schools under trees. You need to go to school under trees, you know, you need to walk miles away from home before you can get
Mm-hmm.
education. How do I even call it quality? Because you literally study under trees. Then you can't even get 3 square meals. So the thing is, you need to go to the farm, go and weed, come get something to eat before you can go to then learn. So if you make it that far to the high school, then you go and meet, you know, where everybody is coming in. There are little infrastructures for schools in Africa. I say Ghana is a bit okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know, compared to other African countries. Ghana is a bit okay. You know, Ghana is a
Mm-hmm.
middle level income country. And it's so much okay compared to other countries. I don't want to mention any country. So you go to schools and one thing we're so blessed to have is peace. Although we have no
Mm-hmm.
peace, we have no good accommodations, no schools to study in. We have stable peace and security. So that's one thing I'm
Mm-hmm.
proud about Ghana. So that is it. After you get to high school and then make it through senior high school, then make it through the university if you are lucky. Make it through the
Mm-hmm.
and then you come out to start looking for jobs. You know, people with master's degree literally has no job doing. So how are you gonna get some quality job to cater for your family, your wife, your kids, and then your extended family? You know, in Ghana, we do so much in extended family. You know, not like in America where everybody, my mom, no, myself, my wife, and my kids, nuclear family. We do in extended family. So you can have your grandmom, your grandpa, your aunties, your uncle, everybody living in an entire compound house where you need to also feed
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So if you're lucky to make it that far to the university level, and then you have to come and battle for jobs, of which your chances of getting a job, a decent job, is 2 out of 10 because everybody has graduated from school and then they are literally at home, not getting employed. Okay, so it's tough for the average African Ghanaian or the average African. But for me, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I came from a middle income, middle status family. So I had access to education, I had access to accommodation, shelter, clothing. Then my grandmom was always concerned about education because she knew that was the only way we can get to a better place than she was. So she always forced us to learn. Even under candles, there's no stable electricity as I was growing up. But you always force it with candle lamps. I don't know whether I did that as well. How to study with and lamps. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really difficult for the average Ghanaian. And then we were in the middle class, so you can imagine people from the lower class. It's so tough to be in Ghana. But it's all good. This is home. We have no place to be.
So let me ask you this. Let's go back a little bit because I heard you speaking about, you has you don't want to call them struggles, but you did go through some things growing up.
Yeah.
And I noticed something you said you stayed with your parents up until you excuse me, up until you were 10, and then you went and stayed with your grandma. So if you don't mind, speak on some of the things that you went through growing up, and also why did you go stay with your grandma at 10? Why didn't you continue staying with your parents?
All right. So we have sectors of Ghana. We have the northern part, the southern part. And then the southern part were not interested in education. Up to now, they are not interested in education. When they go to school, they can write, but speaking the Queen's language, we were colonized by the English, the Britain. So everybody wants to speak good English. So my grandmom said, I'm in the northern
Okay.
part, and then they do good in English speaking. So I like you very much, you my first grandson. Why don't you come over and stay with me and receive? And more so, her husband was a headmaster in one of the high schools. So literally, she thought her husband will push us to learn more and then get ourselves into wherever we want to be. And I think it really helped me, really helped me. I had the chance to speak very good English. I don't know whether it's good to you or not, but to
Nah, it's good. It's good.
my closest relatives and my closest people, I think I speak relatively good than they do. So
Yeah, you do. You do. You do. I can understand what you're
thank you
saying.
very much. Thank you very much. So I
Yeah.
think I had this opportunity because my grandma took out both steps. And my mom wanted me to be with her, and then it will cut down their burden. I come from a family,
Hmm.
I have six other siblings. And my dad was
Okay.
a technical contractor, building houses and stuff. And then the income that he received wasn't so good, to take care of everybody. So, when I moved, the burden is lessened. And then my grandma can take it up from there. So that was the reason I moved to my grandma. And then my grandma was a businesswoman. She was a trader. So I used to learn and then also support her in her businesses. So that is where I even grew interest in business, selling and buying. That is how come I had interest having a business mindset. And someday, probably going forward, I'll let you know of my business, what I want to do, all those stuff. So I think that is the reason I moved from my parents to my grandma.
Okay. So, what were some of so growing up, um, what was life like? What are some things that you could remember that growing up? How was it as a kid?
All right. Like I said initially, I haven't actually noted every struggles I did because I had to, let things go. I have to stay positive. That's one character of me. I always like to stay positive. Anything that happens to me, it's a means to an end. And then everything that happens is written and then it has to happen. And you can do anything to it. You just need to overcome this challenge. So I actually
Mm.
don't consider, but I remember one thing. I remember one thing. I have a brother in United States, Kansas. I don't know whether you've heard Kansas State. He's currently there. He's been there for the past 5 years. And then I remember sometime after school, after I had finished school, and then I need to fend for myself. After 18 years, you need to also get some money in your pocket and then do your own stuff. And then I had finished school, I had no employment, and I had to stay because you either support yourself and then continue in the tertiary or the universities or the technical universities or whatever you want to be. So I had no other options than to, go and do menial jobs like construction, being a laborer at construction site. But all those things I knew was toughening me. So I don't really consider them as struggles or tough times in my life. So I think I'll keep saying that they were not tough times. They were just challenges that I needed to overcome. And then I think God has been good all this while.
Excuse me, man. When I listen to you talk, it's like you're a very positive person.
That is,
Like I see that you don't really look at anything as negative.
that,
It's almost like everything it's like a building block, an obstacle, something to just overcome.
that's the goal.
Where how are you able to stick with that no matter what you go through in life? Because sometimes you'll go through something and it's so tough, it's so hard, and you know sometimes you kind of you're human. So sometimes you're not it's not always easy to stick to the standards when you're going through so much stuff all the time. So how are you able to just keep that positive mindset? Like, where does that come from?
There's a saying that in the end, what will be. Okay? What will be,
Mm,
que sera, sera.
mm.
What is written is always written. And then I believe in fate, destiny. And I think, let me bring this in, let me chip this in. The only tough time I conceived was my time in the training center, become a military man. Those are the times I felt
Mm.
that life is really difficult. And sometimes I used to ask myself, why am I being here? Should I give up and go home or what? But if you give up and go home,
Where?
how are you going to go home? You need to stick and then be.
Yeah,
Yes. So I think
yeah.
one some of part of my life that I consider very tough was back in the training center, the military training center. It's not easy, bro. It's not easy. Being trained as
So
being trained as a
excuse me.
all right.
Not sorry, not to cut you
Okay.
off, but that what made you a military? What got you there? What made you want to go and be in the military?
In America, I learned, to join the military is by passion, but
Hmm.
Ghana in Africa to join the military is a means of work. At least you need to get something to do. You can't depend on your parents always. You need to get something to do. So at least if I haven't been able to achieve my aims, becoming a clinical psychologist, at least if I join the military, I'll have something to eat at the end of the month. I'll get some pay, some salary to cash on, and then probably if I want to build a family, I can build a family. I can't just depend on my parents after getting or hitting 30 years. So I need to get something to do. So in Ghana, it's job for the men. Being in the military is job for the men. Whether I have the passion or not, you need to be in the military.
Hmm.
Why? It's a means of survival. So it's different. It's kind of different out here. So your goals will be shifted because the systems make you shift your goal. You not like it, but you need to survive. You need to go there and then get some money. All right. That is how I can
Right.
get myself from being a clinical. Actually, I wanted to be a doctor, a clinical psychologist, like Jordan Petersburg. I don't know whether I heard of him. The Canadian, he's a clinical psychologist, and then I like him so much. He inspired me so much. And I wish I could be like him, but unfortunately, I had to move to the military and then get some monies and then survive. So that's how come I moved.
Right.
All right.
Right. Right. So you know this already an interesting story. I'm already learning a lot.
Yes, yes.
So what is it like as far as religion? What is it that y'all? Because over here you have you have Christian, you have Buddha, you have a different all types of different Christian, like Catholic, stuff like that. What's the religion over there? What's it like that with that?
Yes, thank you. And the majority of the population, I can talk of Ghana because I've not been to other African countries. So let me narrow my
Hmm.
Ghana alone. And then from the last census, if I can recall, the current population of the Christian religious people makes about 70%, if not more than 70% of the total population. So literally almost every country,
Excuse
all
me.
right, almost everybody in the country is a Christian. So 70% to 75%, okay? And then we have
Okay.
20 to 25% being Muslims. Those are the dominant religions in Ghana. Those we know. And then we have the African traditional religion, our previous lifestyle, our culture. then that makes about
Mm-hmm.
5%, very few people. Then it's very unfortunate that the majority who call themselves Christian perceive them as uncivilized because they still hold on to their forefathers' culture and religion. So I think virtually mostly everybody is a Christian or a Muslim, either Christian or a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how the religious siding or alignment is in Ghana here. I can speak for other
Okay.
African countries.
Right. Right. So let me ask you this. So okay, so America, America is built on this idea that this is the land of the free. You come here, you have freedom. You can basically have the American dream. And so we have free speech, for the most part. We can freely express ourselves, in various different ways, with religion, with the way we are. So how is it in Ghana, with as far as religion? Do the different religions, do they freely express themselves? Do they ever kind of clash? Being that they're different, they may have different morals, different standards. Speak on that a little bit.
You know, uh, I wish I could give you a brief history of the country Ghana. That will make you understand the
Mm.
entire conversation. And let me just make it brief. Ghana was
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Do your thing.
colonized by
Go ahead.
the British. They came from Europe to colonize the African countries, and then Ghana was colonized by Britain. From the year
Mhm.
1900 to 1956, until one man called Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, came to liberate us from the rule of the Britain. So we were ruled by them for 56 years, and then we were our population was just like 4 million, 5 million people. But as it stands now, we have population of 30 million. The last time I checked, it was 30 million people on this country, Ghana. And then talking about the religion, Muslim, and then the Christian religion. The culture of our people is hospitality. We Ghanaians, we love to receive foreigners. So how much more we ourselves, we try to contain.
Mhm.
There's no clash, there's no misunderstanding, there's no nothing. In fact, there's absolute peace and harmony reigning in Ghana. And then everybody's living, everybody know his line, and nobody's willing to cross the other's line. And then everybody's being his lane. Then we just taking very great precaution that nobody's stepping on the other. So religion in Ghana, apart from the doctrination, that is a problem. I personally think it's a problem. There's Christianity, and then out of the Christianity, we have different kind of churches, different kind of belief system. People worshiping on Sundays, people believe to worship on Saturdays, and then people thinking that paying tithes, is necessary. People also believe that it's not necessary. The indoctrination is what have. So the separation is actually in between the Christians. They are separate between
Mm.
themselves, and the Muslim also separated in between themselves. But going across each other, that I haven't.
Okay.
And I think they are doing very well. Everybody is trying to contain each other, to understand each other, because everybody believes that in the end we're worshiping the same mighty God. Then we just have
Okay.
history and harmony. I think that is it. But I like to go back to the brief history of Ghana. So Ghana
Go
had
ahead. Go ahead.
independence, and this man called Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had independence for Ghana in the year 1957. In fact, Ghana was the first African country to be liberated from all the colonial rules. We were the first African country to get independence. And then after that, Nigeria followed, and then subsequently the other African countries. So after we had independence, our president ruled for 8 years, and then we saw a series of coup d'etat. I don't know whether you know what coup d'etat means. Coup d'etat, where
Mm-mm.
the
Mm-mm.
military system want to overthrow the government, and then the military takes over as the government, and then try to rule the country. And then it's very rampant.
Mm.
It was very rampant from the year 1966 to 1979. About nine
Mm.
that took place in that short span. So coup d'etats, killing of people. Yes, you know, if I come and I'm a military
Hmm.
man, and I think you are the government, you've spent so much money. You know, corruption
Yeah.
is also a factor that,
Yeah.
and most
Yeah.
countries. So if I come, you spend so much money. I will not wait for you to explain yourself where you took those money. I like to fire, we call it firing squad, put you to the stake and then give you some shots and then you go bury you or throw you to the sea. So it happened from 1966 continuously to about 1979. And then we turned into a democratic state and then amazingly there has not been any coup d'etat or destruction of the democracy we've had since 1979 and then everything is moving on smoothly. So that is the short, brief history of the country Ghana. And then I think when you want to know more, we can delve inside and then I'll give you details. So I think that would be a good one.
So I hear you say it's nothing, but you have a lot of peace and security in the part of in where you live in Ghana.
Yeah.
So what's the government like? What type of government do you have? Does the government allow you all to like freely be yourself? Like, are they strict? Like, what type of government do you live under?
Okay. Uh, I didn't hear you quite through, but it was breaking. But I can understand you want to know the type of government we have in Ghana. We practice
Right, yeah, the type of government. Yep, the type of government. Yep.
democracy, you know. Then we have a parliament, we have the judiciary, then the executive. You know, there are three arms of government in Ghana here: the executive, the
Hmm.
judiciary, and the legislation. So it's literally the same thing we practice here. And then we have ministers of state for every district that is in Ghana here. And then the president appoints his cabinet ministers and then he works together. And then the judiciary, which from the police, the judges, and then the courts. It's literally the same here. We do the same thing as the British do because we took most of our constitutional rules from them. We try to take a lot of things from their own constitution and then bring it to us and then agglomerate it and then make it as a constitution we have in Ghana. So we do virtually the same thing that the British do. So we practice democracy. I
Okay.
said since 1979 we haven't had any disruption of this democracy and then it's been a smooth journey up to now.
Okay. Okay. I like that. So, have you ever thought about leaving Ghana? Or have you ever thought about leaving? Or
You know,
are you kind of settled?
I love this question. I told you initially I have a brother in Arkansas, Kansas State. He has
Uh
tried to convince
huh.
me to either move to Canada or America. But, you know, I personally believe that anything we want is found right here in Ghana, and then you can make it big time. What do you need to
Mm-hmm.
make it as a businessman in the world? You know, you need to solve problems and then you get rich. You know, somebody saw that before I talk to Jews in America, I have to write on a letter, like in a letter form, and then post it. And it will take to like 3 months to 6 months before Jews get to read and then respond. Probably if I'm in a major state,
Yeah.
I will die. So he thought, why don't I make a telephone and then he made a telephone. Then
Yeah.
he cashed in large sums of money. So wherever you see problems, you see money. Okay, and so looking at America and Ghana, where do you think there are so many problems located at?
Everywhere, right?
That is correct. But you know, everybody has its own temerity, you know, the height of problem. And
Yeah.
I think Ghana has
Yeah. Yeah.
huge problems compared to America. Huge problems that
Mm,
solved. And then if problem equals money, then I think Ghana is it.
yeah.
So I think I like to stay here and probably one day I might even become Minister of Parliament or a president. You need to dream big. So I need to stay right here back in Ghana and help my people. I've never thought of it. You know, probably I might come for education and then upgrade myself, but not to stay there and work for them. You know, I need to come back, build the
Yeah.
economy and then make my country great.
So elaborate more on that. Speak more to you saying that, because I think that's cool. a lot of times, a lot of people, they want to come to America
Okay.
because they want to be, somewhere where they can be successful because they feel like they can't do it where they are now, and wherever their own hometown is. So, what is some of the things that you yourself want to do to help Ghana? Like, what is it that you aspire? What it to do?
Okay. Like I said initially that I wanted to become a doctor. I was I
Mhm.
was in school last time and then I saw a pregnant woman being carried at the back of a motorcycle. She's pregnant in labor. Then she's at the back of a motorcycle on a dusty road, and then she had to go through all these things to get maternal care and to get delivery. And then I said, I need to solve all this problem at least probably one day. So I pray to God that God gives me the necessary requirements so that I can help these suffering people. So me personally, where I want to look at is healthcare. I want to build more hospitals and then solve all those problems of people going to bed to hospitals, and then all they go and meet is bench they need to lie on, take on their drip. It's so disheartening and pathetic. So I need to build more hospitals if God gives me the means, and I hope He's gonna do it. Then I'll build more hospitals, schools. Then I think these are the two sectors I want to touch on: education and then healthcare. And I think it will help the people, and then not not forgetting the fact that I might also make enough money because I'm a businessman trying to help the people. Then I think I'll get some income as well. So I think I need to help in the healthcare and education. That is the goal for now. That is,
So, what do you think is needed for to get Ghana to where it needs to be? I understand that you're saying that money, better health care, but what actually starts that process to move Ghana in that direction to start building to get to a better place that you're thinking of in your mind?
when I was in a primary school, they used to tell us that if you always try to give the child a fish, he's not gonna learn anything. Always try to teach him how to fish. Okay? So I don't think Ghana is really poor. The state of mindset. Can I give you some few things Ghana is endowed with? The blessings from God. We have crude oil. We have oil, gold in large quantities. In fact, cutting across the entire surface of Ghana. Just need to dig a little bit and then you're gonna find gold. We have diamonds, magnesiums, copper, uranium, countless mineral resources we have. We have green vegetations, and then the best among all is arable lands. You can plant something even in my room here, and then the next 3 months we come to see it ready to be eaten. So we have arable lands, river sources, we have the ocean just down south of our map. Then we have a lot of stuff that I think Ghana shouldn't be a poor country. The only thing we lack that we need to work on is leadership. Okay, we lack leadership. We have misplaced priorities. I think our leaders have misplaced priorities, and then I think if we have the best of leadership, we're not gonna be poor, and then all these problems you see we having will not be happening. Let me give you a story about Rwanda. Have you heard of Rwanda? Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, Rwanda was engaged in a civil war against the Hutus and the Tutsis. Then they
Mm-hmm.
killed over 2 million people in just a span of few days. They killed over 2 million people.
Mm-hmm.
They massacred themselves, killing each other, and literally enter somebody's house, kill the entire family. They killed 2 million people, more than 2 million people, I think. And then they had this leader called Paul Kagame. He's the current president now. Then he changed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether I've seen ads talking about visit Rwanda, visit Rwanda. You go to the English Premier League and then footballers playing, and then you see an ad on their shirt, visit Rwanda. How can a country that it happened 1999, getting to 2000 and 2000, the year 2000, 1999, they
Mm.
killed 2 million people. You know, it broke down the economy. Everything was at a halt. But this man came and in just 20 years, he was able to put the name Rwanda to the world map again. And then everybody want to visit Rwanda. What did he do? His leadership. You know, we have Singapore.
Mm. Mm.
Singapore is a famous country in, I don't know whether it's in Asia, but I know of Singapore. Singapore came to Ghana. We cultivate palm trees a lot, and then palm trees have so many uses. And Singapore came to Ghana the year 2000, learned how to make palm trees, and then how to use palm trees to create soap, oils, then doormat, a lot of things, making hats and stuff. And then Singapore is now part of the super countries. They are no more with, we started, like I was saying about Rwanda. It all boils down to leadership. Get a right leader, and then the country will be on course. It's not magic, you don't have to win a magic one. It's about being tough. The African people are different in nature. They are different breed. So you need a very strong leader who will not be tempted by this corruption, this greed. Then his yes is gonna be his yes, his no gonna be his no. So we need very strong leaders, and then who are decisive, very, very, visionary. They need to have visions for the long term. It's very unfortunate
Mm.
that most people, the average people living here, always think about tomorrow. Don't even know whether they think what they want to survive. Sure, is the system that has pushed them. You know, just need to survive. They don't have 5 years. You beat people like 100 people, and then you ask them in the next 5 years, where do you want to see yourself? And very few will tell you where they want to see themselves. So I think it's a problem of leadership. We need leaders who
All
have
right.
vision, who are very decisive, and then Ghana will be on course. It's no magic. So I think that is what we need as
Well,
Ghanaians now.
I got you. And speaking of Rwanda, we actually have there was actually a movie that was released on it, Hotel Rwanda, and Don Cheadle was one of the main characters. That's the first time I ever even knew what happened or what was going on, you know, and he did a damn good job in that movie. I don't know if it was released in Nigeria. I mean in Ghana. I don't know if if it was released there, but it was definitely a good movie. Um, my last question I do want to ask you though, is I know you were saying that it is a lot of peace and stuff, and so like, what is crime like? Is there a lot of crime that goes on, or is it pretty?
Crime, crime. African
Mm.
people, we naturally, we are not used to having crime. Those things like robbery, shooting, killing, we are not used to it because your dad will not let you go out to go and do those stuff. Everybody was captured in his own way. Then there was some kind
Mm.
of leadership that we used to have as Africans. We have the clan head, then whatever you do as a kid or as a man or a lady in the family, the whole clan is gonna take responsibility. So they wouldn't let you do it in the first place. Okay. So crime
Mm.
now actually, the world is evolving and people have learned new ways to
Mm.
make and stuff. So crime is now
Mm.
up in Ghana. But I would say the police are doing a very good job. They are doing a very good job together with the military, try to instill discipline. Crime, I would say, is on the low. It's on the low in Africa or Ghana.
Okay, so I said that was my last question, but you just made me want to have a follow up. I have something else that I want to ask you, because so here in America, the relationship with the police and certain races, mostly the blacks. Well, only the blacks, but um it's kind of it's a lot of tension. You know, we don't have a lot of trust in the police. You know, the relationship is not, it's not there at all. No type of um it's almost like there's no type of respect, you know, because of so much that we see, you know, a lot of police killing, you know, and nothing happening. So like what is the relationship? Because I know you're saying the crime is not, it's prevalent. So like what is the relationship with the police and the community? I'm assuming that it's pretty good.
Yes. Before I answer that, let me go back and say that we are from extended family. Everybody knows somebody in a different family.
Okay.
And we the
Okay.
same. Assuming I wasn't a military man and I was a policeman, and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
deployed in my home country or my hometown, calm
Mm-hmm.
down something. I wouldn't go brutalizing my own people because they are my people. All right. So the relationship between the police and the people. In fact, we grew up knowing, listening to the anthem. The police is your friend. The police is your friend. So we can actually approach the police. We don't fear the police. It's only the military. We have gotten a tag for ourselves that we come there and then. So normally when we go in, everybody calms down. But the police, you can see the police with a shield coming and then citizens throwing stones at them. That is how cordial the relationship between police and the people
Mm.
is. So they are very good terms here in Ghana. But except for the military people, the military people everywhere. They come in and then everybody, whether you are my family member, you have a duty to perform. So with the police,
Mm.
I would say it's cordial relationship, very peaceful one, very peaceful one, very peaceful one. Then they are doing
Okay.
everything. Yeah. So I don't know whether I have more questions because I have time. Boss on it.
Okay. Well, I do. It's so one of the questions I have is that I know you were saying that it's all about leadership, and I
Yes.
agree. You know, I think that with the right leadership, with the right mindset, the right plan, you know, I think anything is possible, anything can happen as long as, you know, obviously hard work, dedication, honesty, you know, transparency. So with all of that, you named a lot of
Mineral resources.
valuable resources, yes, that it's no, like you said, there's no reason why you should be poor, right? So what what is being done with all of those resources, like that's making it to where um that you can't profit or prosper or I guess benefit from what you have in your own, you know, in your own place.
You know, Thank you. I would like to say that all these problems we can attribute it to neocolonialism. Neocolonialism, in that
Mm.
one way we are independent, but we are being colonized by the West and then the Europeans. Say to the
Mm.
fact that we have discovered oil in Ghana, seas of Ghana waters, and then
Mm.
we don't have the enough capital to get machineries to dig up this crude to go and sell on the world market. So what do we do? Okay, let's go to the West. They have the money, come and then dig up this crude. And then they come to Ghana and then when they dig up the resources, they give us like 10% and take 90% their country. So you
Mm.
see, all these things, they come
Mm.
international gold mines, Boase, a notable place, Ghana, where they mine gold. And then the people from South Africa, from Tanzania, and then some part of Western Canada, yes, Canada. They come, the Newmont, they need their company is Newmont. They come to Ghana and then they mine this gold and then give very small portion because it's their machineries, their equipment, their monies they are using to take this diamond gold. So they give you what they want and then they take the rest. So it's about leadership, like I said. It's about leadership. The right leader to come, make good policies, and then we take charge of our resources. So, like, I don't know whether I've heard of Niger.
Mm.
Have you heard of Niger? It's in the news all over for the past 2 months. Niger
Mm.
is so a sub-Sahelian country in West Africa. You know, but
Mm.
they are found in the desert part, and then they mine uranium in large quantity. You know, they were colonized by the French, so everything boils down to colonization and all those stuff. People still impacting, putting their shoulders on our resources and then taking it out. The amount of
Mm.
uranium they used to take from Niger until they had a military coup. No, the West, you guys are very smart. The West, they are very smart. You know what they do? Like, for example, they find Jews in Ghana who is very vibrant and then ambitious. Jews want to be president. So what do we do as a Western country? Let's come and then support Jews financially. Let's push him to the presidency. Then whatever we want, because we put him there, we can just turn him into a
Yeah.
puppet and then we want this, we want this amount of gold, we want this amount of diamond, we want this amount of bauxite, timber. Then Jews has no other option. It's tied to his back. His hands are tied. Then he has to give it to them because they
Mm.
put him there.
Mm.
Okay? So that is how they operate in Africa. Although we are not being colonized, but they still have these operations going on in there. They still manage to take our resources and then give us bigger amount of it, and then we have to survive on it because we have no other options. Our leaders are all puppets. They are all sycophants, bootlickers, licking on the boots of the West. So that is how come we're still very poor, although we have amount of resources. So back to Niger.
So
Niger, ha-
go ahead.
Niger had a coup d'etat,
Go
and
ahead.
then the military junta, they were selling, the previous president was selling uranium to France at an amount of 8 cents per kilogram. Okay. Meanwhile, on the world
Mm.
market, a kilogram of uranium is $200, but they used to buy it for 8 cents. Then you see the difference in price. They used to buy it for 8 cents, but on the world
That's a big difference. That's a big
market,
difference.
so you see how
That's robbery.
yes, that's robbery. So the military all this money. Why should we be sitting and then France enjoying? They calling themselves superpowers, using the money they get from us to support wars in Russia and Ukraine, and then we are dying in poverty. We don't have places to stay. We don't get employment. So the military set in and then they took over power. Now they brought the amount of the price of the uranium from 8 cents to $200, which is what is on the world market. And now I'm sure and hoping that they do something good with all the money. So because sometimes these military people, we have had our own fair share of military coup d'etat. In Ghana, like I was telling you earlier, they started from
Hmm.
1966 and then 1979, and apparently didn't change anything. They were still like the same democratic political government. So I'm just hoping this time it will be something different. Something. So it's just prayers that we need to pray and then support each other and hope. The only thing we have, hope. Just need to keep hope
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
light at it. So I think that is it.
Okay. So let me rewind a little bit back to you speaking on, this, how you only get a small piece, of
Bigger.
the valuables that you have, from the minerals and the resources that you have. So let me ask you this. Do you feel like the peace and security that you're so used to, do you think it has anything to do with the fact that you're only getting a small portion of the resources that you have? Do you think that if those people up in the position of power kind of said, hey, we're going to make sure that we're taken care of, we're going to make sure we get our fair share, do you think if there was pushback in regards to that, do you think it would compromise that peace and security that you're so used to?
It will start politically. Yes, it will start politically and diplomatically. You know, the reason
Mm.
our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was overthrown was for this same reason. The man did so very good the time he was president. He tried to take away all these colonial masters and then all their shambolic ways and means to sack our resources. And then, do you know what they did?
Mm.
It was exposed by the CIA that the claims to overthrow the president, Nkrumah, was a plot of the CIA. The CIA is in the United States, right? Because Nkrumah didn't give them the chance to lose
Mm-hmm.
those resources. So it boils down to the Western influence. They will come in when they say that we are getting wise, they will come in and then cause mayhem. Then the security will be jeopardized.
Mm-hmm.
So who are diplomatically inclined and politically inclined to play, to play on the bigger scale and then know how to do it safely. It was the plan of the president of Ghana, Nkrumah, to unite the entire Africa, get a united military, get a united um, road system network, and then get a united governance, and then probably get the same currency. Like now we are all divided, but had that thing have succeeded, no Western power or European power could have come in to say that they are going to because we would have been united. But one problem that African faces is that we are disseminated and everybody is fighting his own goal. And then there's a saying that says, "Divided we fall, but together what we stand." So I think because we are
Mm-hmm.
because of all these problems, everybody can get hit and then let go. So I'm sure when we try to fight so much enough, the colonial masters will come back and cause mayhem, cause insecurity. They did
Yeah.
that. They did that in Niger. They did that in Burkina Faso. They finance terrorists. I don't wish I could talk about it, but it's an open secret. They finance terrorists to come and then cause insecurity, and they come in as if they are come to support. They're building what military bases, and then they'll be looting your resources. It happened in Libya. I wish you could go to Libyan
Mm-hmm.
history and then learn about Libya. It happened in Libya. There was this president, Muhammad Gaddafi,
Mm.
was doing so well for
Yeah.
Libya.
Yeah. Yeah.
Libya. The same thing. Who did that? The France went in with the Americans. They went in and destroyed the whole country. And Libya is in shambles. Even Ghana
Mm.
is better than Libya now. So that is what they will do. And our political heads are aware of that. If they try to mess their relationship with the Western powers or the European powers will come in and cause mayhem, and then everything will scatter. So I think we're just waiting for that day we get very strong man and then decisive person who will come in and then say, "I'm gonna lead the country out of." Or probably still we can now come as a people, come together as a people and say, "No backbiting. We're gonna stand together. We're gonna have the same vision." They did so
Right.
well. Multi-party system. One person on this party and the other person on this party. So it's so easy to get two people into conflict. But if we come together as a people, I'm sure it will be so easy for us to defeat all these problems, and then Ghana and Africa will be a beautiful place because we have everything and
Mm.
we have
Mm.
everything. I think that is it.
So I want to. Okay. So I want to go back to your government and speak a little bit more on that. How, because if I'm not mistaken, I know you said a democracy or
Yes,
a parliament.
yes, yes.
So explain that, what type of government that is for the people like me. I don't know what that. I don't know what type of. I don't know what a parliament is. I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know if y'all vote for who y'all want as y'all leaders, or how is that? How does that work? And what is like the term? How long? For each time they're there. For us,
Okay,
we vote for the people we want in certain positions, for president, in the states, stuff like that. So how is it, in Ghana?
okay. Literally, democracy simply means the ability for everybody to share his own opinion. You say your opinions, and I'll say mine, and then
Okay.
we we dialogue, and then everybody get to pick what he likes. That is what on a lateral understanding we understand democracy to be like. So we have multi-party system. For the last elections we had in 2020, there were about 8 political parties with their presidential aspiring candidate who wanted to stand as president, to be president of the country. So they go in for a post or vote, then the person who gets 50% plus a one vote becomes the president. Then we have this minister of parliament in every district. We have about 275 districts. So every district gets to vote, then they go and represent it in the parliament. Then they make laws. That is their main aim. Their core mandate is to make laws to help the people move from problems to, from grass to grace. That is their main responsibility. However, the presidential candidates, they get to vote by everybody, and then if you're able to get 50% of the voting plus a single vote, then you become president. I think that is what democracy is all about here. And then everybody gets to speak his view. Everybody gets to speak. We pass
Mm-hmm.
the
Right.
liberal law where you have the right to ask every question you're entitled to, demonstrate and do everything. So it's literally the same in America when it comes to democracy. You have every right to say whatever you want. Then nobody's gonna touch you. That is the same thing that we practice.
Right.
That is democracy.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this in about work. Like as far as like getting jobs, stuff like that. What is like your how young do y'all start working?
Yes, you can start working as early as any age you think you're able to start working. As early as you think you can work. Yes, we have kids at the age of 6 hawking, selling water on their head on traffic. Then as early, you don't have to decide. The system is gonna decide for you. You wake up in the morning and then you have nothing to eat. You need to go and hustle.
Wow. Okay.
Go and
Yeah.
hustle.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is the
I
system.
feel that.
So if you are young, 6 years
I
old,
feel that.
you don't have anybody to feed you, then you think you're gonna sit like that and die. Good for you, die. You need to come out, go and hawk, and then get something to eat. So as young as you think you are ready to eat, you should go in and then work. Yes. And then, but one problem we face as Africans, we have systems that we are mainly agricultural based economy. It's only agric that will be able to propagate the economies of Africa. But it's very unfortunate that every young person is moving from the rural areas where they could have cultivate and then grow plants and then come and then sell it on the market to get more money. Everybody's looking for a white collar job. I want to be a nurse, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor, the white
Yeah.
collar. Everybody wants to sit in the AC and then have a better life. I think that is the main cause of we Africans or we Ghanaians. So everybody just complete junior high school and then he moved from the villages and come to the city without knowing anybody here, without knowing how he's gonna survive. So they end up on the street, living on the street. Meanwhile, they have better homes in the rural areas where they could have make agriculture the backbone of their life and then probably. But one problem I understand them why they don't want to stay in the rural areas is that they don't have the machineries, the equipment to help them to cultivate this produce that I think they should be cultivating because literally you cultivate in the bush, then you will not even get vehicle or transportation to convey your produce from the farm to the house. So you end up like let's say you plant tomatoes and then the tomatoes is ripe, you need to pluck them and bring them back home. But you pluck them and you not get any means of transport to bring the produce from the farm to the house. So you see that the tomatoes will end up rotting the farm. So the farming aspect of our agri sector is not very juicy and nobody's ready to venture. And I think that is where the government should be more focused on, pushing funds and so much budget into the agri sector because when people are happy to engage in the agri sector, people get food to eat, and then people will not move from the villages to the cities to come look for white collar job. Like now, Ghana is facing a very big challenge, a very big problem. All our nurses are moving from Ghana to the United Kingdom in search of greener pastures. You know, to be a nurse here, you get paid meager. You don't get paid so much. Then it's the
Mm.
system service of condition is very poor. So every nurse who is
Mm-hmm.
certified, is qualified, wants to move to the United Kingdom, and more than 3,000 Ghanaian nurses. No, we don't have enough nurses, but they are still moving out of the country to search for greener pastures. Then I don't blame them. It's the system that is compelling. So we just need leadership to help us fix all these problems, and then I think Ghana will be a better place for everybody to come.
Oh, is there any type of government aid? Is there any type of assistance that the government provides to help pay for housing, food, transportation? Do they provide, buses that you can go to the bus stop and take a ride if you need to go somewhere? Like, and maybe not bus stops, maybe, whatever, ride shares, something that assists, you know, y'all with various different types of things that y'all might need.
I'm sorry to be laughing, but it's very funny. I find it quite funny because looking at what is on the ground here, and what you're speaking and thinking
Oh,
about, so different, so wide the range that I can phantom to even narrow it to what I think. The government is the government think they are trying. Some come, there's always a shift in government, 8 years rule, 8 years rule, and then we change people, and then new set of government come. So the government think he's trying, but unfortunately, we don't see now. Recently, he
mm-hmm.
implemented free education in the secondary sector, high school part, and then I, for one person, don't see any good effect it's making on the people. It's producing a lot of people. That is the only impact, or that is the only policy the government has implemented that he thinks is trying to alleviate the problems of the people. But I'm not sure it's quite effective because it's not thought through. You get people going through high school and then they come out, there is no tertiary education for them to go to because they just go and then they come and then there's no universities for them to attend, or there's no job. You educate the person and the person comes sit in the house. What is the essence of educating? Okay, so there are that is the only thing I can think of. Education, free education, which is not being properly implemented. For transport, it's in shambles. There are no trains, there are no
Right.
buses. You need to take everything out of your pocket to pay for it. Healthcare, they brought health insurance, but now it's on the verge of collapsing. You go to the hospitals and they say they don't take health insurance, so you need to take money from your pocket and pay. And then what do you think the government can also come in and help? Apart from health, education, transport, I don't see them doing anything. The health is in shambles, education in shambles, and transport zero, zero, zero. So there's nothing I can boast of saying that the government is doing really good in this sector. No, I can't say it for me. Probably people who think they are doing it can say, but for me, I don't think there's no good implementation of policies to alleviate these problems we feel. So there are no policies. There are no policies. So different here. So
Wow.
different.
Wow. I mean, that's
It's so different
crazy.
here.
Yeah, I see, because here, I mean, here in America, man, I mean, it's so many different forms of aid that they give, whether it's food stamps to help with food. They have public housing to help with, low income, families that need places to stay.
No.
So it's crazy, and it puts a different perspective on
Ah,
on you know how much we should appreciate a lot of the stuff that we have here, and which is why I wanted to going to depth about what it's like living somewhere else, outside of
Hold on.
our bubble, and something like the jobs. I know you were saying that. I'm assuming like the job market. Is it? I know you saying that it's a lot of people that you have a master's degree, but you don't really have a job to go to. So what is the jobs like, the job market? I know you saying it's real low. So what do you do outside of that if you can't find a job, in the hospital or at a store or something like that? What do you do to make money?
Yes, 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 yes. It's just a miracle. Everybody wakes up and then we survive, and we don't know how we survive. Just sheer miracle. But I think,
Mm.
the human organism is an organism of adaptation. Whichever way we adapt and survive, we are survivors. Every human race or human species, we are meant to survive. And then you wake up and then you think you have to go push the truck. No, we have truck pushers. People go to market and then they think their load is too many, and then they can't get enough energy to carry everything from the market to the bus stop. So you just need to go and help them out, or you have to go and hawk on the street, selling water, selling stamps, cleaning shoes, whole lot of things. So whichever ways you need to do to survive, you need to do. I mean, legal one,
Mm.
legal one.
Okay.
If you need to go drive,
Hustle.
yeah, if you need to go drive a car, you need to go and do it to survive. There are so many works.
Okay.
Meaning,
Okay.
cleaning of gutters, whole lot of works, whichever way you
Mm.
survive, and you go and do it, and then the income is very money. The minimum wage in Ghana is $1, 1 cent. Yeah, you work for an hour and then you receive $1, one. That is even the highest, and it's, oh yes.
Wow. Wow.
$1, 1 cent,
Wow.
$1, one
I
70.
remember
Sure.
I remember when I first started working, I was 14 years old. The
Okay.
first job I ever worked at was actually the first job I ever worked at was a mechanic shop.
Okay.
But he would just pay me, whatever at the end of the day. But my first official like real job was at McDonald's. I was 14. And minimum wage, what I was getting paid was $6.25 an hour
That's the
when I
minimum.
was 14. And this was like 2007.
2007.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
2000.
mean, minimum wage hasn't changed much. I think the federal minimum wage now is like $7.25 or something like that.
Yes. And this
So minimum wage hasn't really changed much.
this 2023, and the minimum wage for Ghana is
Yeah.
$1.17. So you work the whole day, and then you come home with,
Man.
let's say, yes, you come home with, like, say, $7. Then you need to take it because there's no work. There's no work. And then
Mm.
people getting paid like $30 equivalent in Ghana city a month, a whole month. Yes, that is how much. And they think they pay you $30 for a whole month. There's a lot of crazy stuff, but we need to survive. We need to work and survive. It's just wonderful.
That makes sense. Got you. Okay. So I got one more question. And my question is just like you
Oh,
were saying, man, earlier. You was talking about how, a lot of times where when we hear, Africa, and not even us, what I wouldn't want to say not even us, because it's kind of a mixture. Sometimes, when we don't know, and especially when you're shown something over and over again, you start kind of believing it sometimes, especially if you've never been there before. So, like saying where you mentioned, every time you think of Africa, you think of, them living in trees and, and stuff like that, right? So So also another thing with that, when we think of Africa or just, other countries, it's the wildlife. We think that, elephants and giraffes and hyenas and panthers and tigers, they just walking all around the place. So like, what is wildlife like there?
All right.
What type of animals do you see, and what's like the interaction? Are they just like out in the open? Like, speak on that.
Okay. We have parks, animal reserve, forests. That we have guards, forest guard keeping, the range and checks of these animals. We have zoos in the forests, not just the normal zoos in cages, but in forests where you need to walk through the forest, hike through the forest to see all these animals. Okay, so we have animals in forest reserves. We have them in the forest reserve. The reason they keep showing wildlife and other stuff, they are NGOs, non-governmental organizations. Then what they are supposed to
Right.
come look for money for Africa, and they can't come to Africa. They'll come and video me, George, driving a Mercedes Benz, and they'll say, George needs some money. So they should sell some money. It's for philanthropical works. They need to hit the places that will touch your heart. So they go to the starving child,
Mm.
the mother who don't have any good nutrition for his child. These are the people they will focus on. But there's a different wide world, we Africans here, and then people, like I said, we have the upper class, the middle class, and then the lower class. So the NGOs like to concentrate on the lower class, going to villages, people having no good water to drink. It happens everywhere. I'm sure even in America, people don't have some. Everybody have good water to drink in America. I'm sure it's not everybody. There are
Yeah.
problems and challenges. So one way
Yeah.
or the other,
Right. Right.
we want to face the
Yeah.
problem so that it will touch the heart of philanthropists, give out money. So that is the picture they keep painting so that they will cash in more money. Because they come to me,
Right. Mm.
and then they'll George need help, and then I'll be driving them through. It's what that is the reason you keep seeing these pictures, and I'm live with a life. We have cities. Ghana,
Man,
we have
the way they make it seem, you would think y'all live in like the woods,
we have
on
we also have sky
in the forest.
beaches, beaches that we go there to relax. Airports. We don't go and land in
Right.
Bangkok. We have
Mm.
airports, and then some houses.
Mm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful place to be. Just that
Okay.
those like to paint pictures that will give them more money. All right.
Okay.
We also have a first class level in the country. So it's just like any other country. Like you have a zoo, you have wildlife there, but they don't live close to you because they are in the zoo. So we also have
Right. Right.
the
Okay.
the zoos there. But we have all kinds of animals here, from elephant to the ant, big to small, all kinds of elephants, animals you can think of, lion, tigers, giraffes, hippopotamus, the deer, the rhinos, all the animals you can think of. We have them in.
So we more alike than we thought.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No. I think one day you guys should come down, and then your show should come down, and then have a clear view of the country, make a proper podcast show, with videos, evidence,
Listen,
to give them a fair idea
I
of.
would love to do that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would love to do that because I mean, I have a passport. So if I do, you're gonna have to show me around. You're gonna have to show me around.
I would love to host you anytime you wish to come. I'd love to host you. Okay.
Okay.
So anything,
Okay.
just give me a call, then you'll be right flying to Africa, Ghana for them. Some
Well,
interesting facts about Ghana. If you check the globe,
hmm.
you have the globe, and you want to check the positioning of Ghana. We are right in the center of the globe. Okay, and then our name is called the Gateway to Africa because we are very peaceful and stable.
Ah,
Yes, so many interesting facts
yeah.
about Ghana. You're gonna laugh. So I think you should find time and then fly down to Ghana, and then I'll take
I would definitely love to come and experience that and to see what that culture is like
yeah,
there for
food,
sure.
different kind of foods, food from the food to the clothing, the dance, festivals, and all this time. There are so many things to experience. So many.
And listen, that's why I say we definitely got to do a part two to this, because I haven't even got on the celebrations, the festivals, the types of holidays that you have, the foods, all of that stuff. I definitely want to get on that, so we're definitely going to follow up with this so that we can get into more depth about what's going on within what that culture's like.
I would like to brief you anytime you will. It's a long
Well,
story.
well, listen.
All right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But listen, man, we almost to 2 hours, man, and it's so much still that I want to know and learn. But I want to appreciate you for taking your time, man, and to bless me with that knowledge and to give me some of that information, and so that I can pass it out to everybody else, because that's all I'm trying to do in my podcast is really just get different people from various backgrounds, talk about different things, and just kind of put some knowledge out to people, and just show them a different perspective on the world. So I appreciate you, man, for joining, and I definitely look forward to that second, the part two to this one.
I'm so glad for you having me here, and I'm so happy to help in my own small way. Like I said, I'm gonna keep you in touch in communication. Whatever you need to help your podcast, grow, I'm always available to help you out. Okay, so I'm
I
much great
appreciate that.
pleasure being on your show. I'm very honored.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that, man, and I can't wait till next time.
And it,
And I definitely think the fans and the audience is definitely going to enjoy this, and I think they are also going to be looking forward to the next, to the part two. So we can't keep them waiting too long.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm
All
always
right, all right.